Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be reviewing a bunch of movie theater themed scents. Some of them are atmospheric, some of them are a little more literal interpretations of what it's like to be in the movies or watching a film at home. For the sake of brevity, I'm going to be covering 14 different perfumes in this review, so I'm not going to go into a bunch of great detail with each one. It's just kind of like the general vibes each one gives me and my thoughts on it. So here are the samples. I got this sample pack. Okay, we're going to start off with Death and Floral's Blockbuster Eau de Parfum. This one starts off as some sort of like lemon-scented alcohol cleaning wipe. There's a lot of like cleaning product, even like a little bit of linoleum in there somewhere. I'm not picking up on any like caramel candy. It's really just kind of like an astringent cleaning product smell at the opening. There's also a little bit of like a Twizzler smell, like that, you know, artificial cherry note. This one was really strange because the first couple months that I had this, it literally just smelled like water. It smelled like nothing. I didn't get anything. So I had to let this one sit for quite a while before I was even able to detect any of this. And I'm not really sure that it reminds me of Blockbuster. If you have been to a Blockbuster, if you remember when they were around, there was something about the air, like there was always that kind of popcorny smell in the air. There was this like, you could almost smell the plastic DVD cases. Very, very particular combination of smells. I feel like this is kind of headed in the right direction, but to be honest with you, it didn't really bring back that quality. Not very accurate in my opinion. Next one is Loser's Club by 1692. Based off of the notes, this one is definitely more of an atmospheric, conceptual fragrance based off of the movie It by Stephen King. This confused me by a lot. The best description I could give of this is that this smells like a musty, crusty, dusty old leather jacket that someone just threw into a moldy field of grass and they just forgot about the jacket. It smells very distinctly old and musky. There's some quality of this that reminds me of vanilla, and I was really surprised to see that there was a candy floss note because, to be honest with you, there's not really any sweetness in this whatsoever. Yeah, there's something in this that reminds me of vanilla, but it's like only if you took all of the warmth and cheeriness that's associated with vanilla and just took it away. This does start to morph into kind of like a bonfire smell, and that's kind of the only part of this experience that reminded me of the movie. It reminds me of being outdoors, but there's virtually no sweetness in this whatsoever. Next one is Please Rewind by Black Baccara. Wow. Okay, this smells exactly like a hot VHS tape that you just ejected from the VHS player. Like that the black film that's like still warm from the thing. I can almost hear the sound of it whirring in the little machine. It's kind of like this like burnt electrical odor. I've never smelled this in a perfume before. I wouldn't say that this is the most pleasant smell. This isn't something that you would just find a human being just naturally smelling like, unless maybe they worked in like a film room or something, but it's kind of uncanny. After about 30-ish minutes or so on the skin, the hot VHS tape starts to cool down, and that is when the popcorn comes in, and this is popcorn. It's not like a hot, buttery popcorn kind of smell, like heated up popcorn kernels that are still oily and kind of burnt. Even the popcorn has this burntness to it. Yeah, overall more like oily and nutty, but not buttery. It is such an amazing thing when a perfume can kind of change your perception of temperature. I don't know how this was accomplished, but this literally smells like a hot VHS tape. This like static electricity quality gives it this like sleepy nocturnal vibe of like staying up all night watching movies. Next up, we have Tootsie Roll by Demeter Cologne. Okay, when I put this on, this is insanely, this is just a sweet, waxy chocolate confection. There's somewhat of like a boozy quality to this. It reminds me of like a cherry liqueur that you would just put in like a mixed drink or something. And that cherry quality really projects pretty strongly. Unfortunately, after about 10 minutes, the waxy quality in this really takes over, and this basically turns into a perfume version of a Tootsie Roll Lip Smackers. It's a fairly light synthetic chocolate. Unfortunately, in my opinion, it kind of turned into a waxy impression of a Tootsie Roll. Not really super realistic to me. I would not describe this as luscious, I'm sorry. Next up is Maine Moon by Solstice Scents. This is like wet wood shavings mixed with root beer, and then like a stick of incense for some reason. The root beer in this, it hasn't been consistent. The multiple times I've worn this, sometimes I smell it, sometimes I don't. It's really nice and lovely when it comes through, but it's not very consistent. As this starts to dry down, it kind of changes from this like sharp spiciness into this more mellow sweetness. Yeah, it's kind of spicy and smoky. It lasted about an hour on my skin though. It was pretty underwhelming. Definitely more wearable than Loser's Club if I had to compare those two. Here we have Peaches Crave the Movies by Arcana Craves. Wow, okay. This is giving me cherry slushy, some Twizzlers, a whole bunch of Twizzlers, and there's like some white cheddar popcorn too. I know that velvet fabric doesn't necessarily have a scent per se. There's something about it that smells hazy to me. Like a bunch of candy with a layer of static on top of it. Absolutely more of an atmospheric, but the gourmand, it opens up with an undeniable burst of very realistic gourmands in here. As it dries down, this one becomes less food and more of like a fuzziness. That hazy, fuzzy quality is pretty undeniable in this one. This one actually lasted quite a while on my skin. I think I got maybe 3 or 4 hours out of this one. There is a slight cherry sweetness to this throughout the whole experience that kind of reminds me of the way Target smells. If that's your sort of thing, I think you'll really like this one. Alright, we have Junior Mints by Demeter. So this starts off as like a very watery, alcoholic mouthwash kind of smell. Like a Listerine smell with like a touch of chocolate. I'm starting to notice a trend with the Demeter colognes that I'm trying. Almost all of them have started off with this very overwhelming alcohol sharpness and astringency that kind of makes it smell like a cheap, gross, unpleasant smell. I'm wondering if this was oil-based, if this would actually smell much better. The combination of the peppermint and the chocolate with the alcohol base, I really think this literally smells like someone just used some Listerine and then started eating some chocolate, and they're like breathing next to you and they're talking to you, and it's like, I can see what they were going for, but I think that the alcohol base actually worked very much against the outcome of this. I will not be wearing this again anytime soon. Next up we have Cinemaniac Eau de Parfum by Duft. Duft? I don't know if I said that correctly. This is delicious. It smells very, very fresh, invigorating, and wow, this projects like crazy. Okay, this is like nuclear level projection, and it's kind of interesting because ginger, pear, cardamom, I don't really associate those notes with like a lot of projection. They're not particularly strong in my opinion, but there's something about the blending of this that my skin has amplified this until like a bomb. Like it will project. After looking at the notes, actually, I'm noticing now that there's not any pear in this. I don't know what exactly is making this smell like pear. The cardamom really stuck out to me the most. Maybe it's because it's not really a note that I see in a lot of mainstream fragrances. It's kind of unique. It works really well. This smells just delicious. As it starts to dry down, the effervescent quality, that bubbly quality, it really gets even more amplified. I don't see that very often. I actually wore this, I wore this to bed, and the next morning I woke up and I could still smell it on my wrist. That is how strong it is. So if you want to make an announcement with how you smell this, I could see this working very well for a lot of people. The only problem that I have with this is it doesn't really remind me of a movie theater at all. I can't think of any instance where I would have smelled this combination of notes in a theater. I don't really understand the inspiration behind this one, but to be honest, this is my favorite so far. This is just gorgeous. This is the contender for now. Cinemaniac Duft, 10 out of 10. We got Tropical Dots by Demeter. Okay, this one is not quite as much alcohol forward, which I appreciate. It's more just, yeah, it's just a waxy, orangey. I'm getting mainly lemon and orange in this one. Yeah, nice, pleasant, inoffensive. It's very playful and light and sweet. I really like it actually. The main issue is it's gone in the blink of an eye. I have put this on at multiple different times of the day, different temperatures. I've used Vaseline before. This does not last. Out of all the Demeter fragrances I've tried, this is the only one that actually smells good to me, and it is basically has the strength of 1%. I will say that citrus notes tend to be very fleeting in general, so I don't know how much you can really expect from a Tropical Dots perfume, but I was hoping to get a little more sillage out of this one, and it didn't really deliver. So next up we have Scream Queen Perfume Oil by Lovesick Witchery. Another introduction to a new brand. I have not tried this brand before. Ooh, okay. Okay. The first cinnamon note I've came across so far, this is like, I'm assuming there's some tuberose in here. This is very bubblegum and like cinnamon hard candy. Ooh, it's making my mouth water actually. It's like there's this hot, buttery, absorbic acid kind of smell, like something in there that would be like a warhead. It's just like a smorgasbord of candy, and wow. The cinnamon in this doesn't last very long. I would say in general the bubblegum morphs into like a blue raspberry smell, which is already artificial in nature. I don't know that I would describe this as an atmospheric scent. It's just yummy. This is, it's literally making me hungry. I would say this is very youthful and fun overall. Which is a nice change of pace from the other heavier scents. I really love this one, and the next time I go to the movies, I might actually reach for this. Next up we have Rewind Perfume by Cold Fragrance. Okay, we're opening up with more candy, but this is not as yummy as the other ones. This is more like a stale Butterfinger that you found in an attic somewhere. This is kind of like someone took like chocolate, peanut butter, and then they sprayed like a cherry scented air freshener on top of it. And as it dries, things do not improve from here. I don't know what the hell happened, but it starts to morph into like a BO smell mixed with like vinegar. My personal impressions of this are so far off from the listed notes that I'm honestly wondering if this one might be an issue with like body chemistry. There's also this like metallic undertone to the whole thing that gives it this like cold, unfriendly feeling. And once again, I'm not getting movie theater from this at all. It would be a stretch of the imagination to say this is film themed at all. This did not work for me in the slightest. Oh wow. This is wrong. Everything about this is off. This is as if you're eating a slice of lemon meringue pie in a public restroom where someone was just spraying Clorox bathroom cleaner and then there's someone else in the bathroom with you who's spraying like an entire can of hairspray. Ugh. There's something at the heart of this that is very, I'm getting almost like a bit of amber. Like there's like this quality to it where like I can tell the core of this is meant to be very rich and velvety and like a honey type of note, but all of these like, I don't know, cleaning product top notes are just ruining it for me. Thankfully, this did not last very long on my skin. Unfortunately, it just gets worse from there. It starts to turn very sour and astringent. I was pretty disappointed by this. The brand's aesthetic was very eye-catching to me. I was really excited to see what this one was like out of almost all of the samples that I got. Everything from like the bottle design to just, I don't know, the whole aesthetic of their perfume brand. It looked very appealing to me. No amount of packaging can make up for a smell like this. Just no. Overall, this was highly unenjoyable and I want no part of it. Okay, last Demeter cologne, we have Popcorn Cologne by Demeter. So once again, alcohol. I think I've come to expect that from Demeter. This does not smell like popcorn at all. This is a bunch of powdered Parmesan cheese and someone put a bottle of alcohol in it. Like, I don't know if there is a quality control department at Demeter. I don't know who's approving all of these mixtures. I don't know if it's a blending issue. It could just be maybe the brand doesn't work for me. This is not popcorn. Popcorn has a very recognizable scent. This is not even close. Similar to the other Demeter colognes I tried, this one doesn't have much longevity to it, but I'm actually okay with that because it really smells awful. I have given this one several chances. Like many of the other ones, I've tried it. I've tried wearing this in different situations. I've put it on clothes, bare skin. It never gets better. I have not been able to pick up anything besides Parmesan cheese. For anyone out there who's been searching for their one and true Parmesan cheese perfume, if that's what you would like to smell like on purpose, then check out Popcorn Cologne by Demeter. I think you'll like it. And now we have arrived at the final perfume. Murder at the Movies by Redwood Alchemy. You may be asking yourself, Valerie, why are you wearing gloves?
Why is it already stinking? Oh my goodness! It already stink! Oh my! What the fuck? It smell like bounce the fuck that ass! It smell like bounce the fuck out of that ass! Oh, somebody been bouncing the fuck out some ass!
I don't know what inspired this, but this took my breath away. It is the most intense, unbelievable, horrible, choking, stank thing I have ever smelled in my life. The reason I was wearing gloves is because the first time I opened this, I was opening up the vial and I got a tiny little bit on my tips of my fingers and I had to scrub my hands with Dawn soap. I could smell this shit on my skin days later. And I don't know if it was just in my head, but it really sunk itself into the pores of my skin and it would not let go. I hesitate to even call this a perfume. I'm not sure how to articulate what this actually smells like, but I'm gonna do my best. It smells like what I would imagine finding a dead body in a porta-john that has not been serviced in at least a year. And instead of calling the cops or the FBI, you decide that you're just gonna set the whole porta-john on fire. There's this immediate burnt plastic, rancid quality to the top notes that literally felt like it was burning my nostrils. There's something about this that makes me feel squeamish and like truly nauseous. I'm not exaggerating. I don't think I've ever had such a visceral reaction to a perfume before. The only way this is movie theater is if a movie theater caught on fire and you rushed in to try to save people and you found a already dead, smoldering burn victim who had been adhered to the seats of the movie theater from the fire, and you went up right up to that person's ass and you took a deep, long whiff. You're getting cauterized asshole of a burn victim in a movie theater. It is repugnant. It is so bad. Part of the problem here is the sillage. This has no need to be as strong as it is. I used to think that the worst thing a fragrance could be is boring. I don't know if that's true anymore. I don't think that that should exist. And it actually changed my life with how bad it was.
Oh, what they did to make that!
Alright, well those are my thoughts on those fragrances. I will say out of all of them, the two that I really enjoyed, the most true to the theme, I would say would be Please Rewind by Black Baccara. That's it. The most wearable and the most enjoyable for me was Cinemaniac by Duft. Just delicious, and you